So the topic today will be Tשובה. And that's all Elul and Tishri are about. It boils down to Tשובה. We embarked on this journey almost 40 days ago, Rosh Chodesh Elul, and we had many stops along the way. Rosh Chodesh Elul, we embarked on the journey, and then we had Slichas, Erev Rosh Hashanah. Rosh Hashanah, this coming Shabbos is Shabbos Shuvah. Under normal circumstances and all previous years, Shabbos Shuvah and Shabbos Agadol are the highlights in my shul. Hundreds of people come together. The shul is packed. We take out the bima. The Ezes Noshim is packed. This year, I'll be giving my Shabbos Shuvah Drusha in the auspices of Kol HaLashon. It will be available on many sites, but in my shul, we won't have a Shabbos Shuvah Drusha because we can't bring many people together. So this year is going to be very different. Chol HaMoed, thousands of people come to my shiurim. It's an unbelievable experience. Chol HaMoed, I give a few shiurim every day. And when we have a full Chol HaMoed like this year, approximately 10,000 people attend my shiurim. And it's so uplifting. It's so special. It won't happen this year. So we are living in very, very different times, testing times, painful. But as much as we regret the fact that our Botzas Torah is limited, we regret even more the fact that we're losing some people. And so many people that are very close to me right now came down with COVID-19, and I hope they'll all be well, but we need a lot of Rachamei Shamayim. So this year when we say Tichel Shona V'Kiril Oiseo, Tochel Shona V'Berchoseo, it is that much more meaningful. And when we say Ovinu Malkeinu Menam Agefo Menachloseinu, it has that much more meaning. And when we say Nesana Toikef Mi Berash Mi B'Magefo, it has so much more significance. But these are the times when we need to rise to the challenge. B'Torah, Teshuvah, Tefillah, B'Tzedakah, and do our best to give guidance and chizuk to people. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu should be mechazik us all, and we should all have a Shona Tova Mesuka. It's not enough, it should be a Shona Tova, it should be a Shona Mesuka as well. It should be a sweet year. HaKadosh Baruch Hu should take this Megefa away. And when he takes away COVID-19, I so much hope he will take away cancer and some other things that we wholeheartedly would forego. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu yigzor aleinu gzeiros toivos, and it should be a shnaz geula v'yeshua. So as I said, the topic today is Tשובה. There's a huge discussion between HaEysonim. Is Tשובה b'chlal a mitzvah? Is it a chiyuv or is it a privilege? The Ramban in last week's Parsha, Parshas Nitzavim, and the Posek V'shavtu ad Hashem Elokecho. V'sham Hashem Elokecho Shabuscha. The Ramban says this is a mitzvah sasei. V'shavtu ad Hashem Elokecho is a mitzvah sasei. However, the Ramban offers another interpretation as well. Maybe it's just a prophecy. Maybe it's a haftocha liyasid lavai. This is what will transpire with Klal Yisrael. And then the Ramban goes on in another posuk in the continuation of the parsha. The Ramban deals with the question, which mitzvah is the Torah referring to? Which mitzvah? So the first chat in the Ramban is mitzvah Teshuvah. That is the mitzvah the parsha is dealing with. Beficho ve'belvavcho la'asoi. So beficho means vidui peh. Belvavcho means charotas alev and kabbalas alev. However, in this posuk as well, the Ramban offers a different pshat. Ki mitzvah zois means klal mitzvah satayra, the entire package of taryag mitzvahs. Ikar shita saramban. Teshuvah is a mitzvah sasei v'shavtu ad Hashem Elokecho. However, in Shittas HaRambam, there's a huge discussion. Some Achronim, most notably the Minchas Chinuch and Shin Samach Daled, assume that according to the Rambam, Tshuva is not a mitzvah at all. Tshuva is a gift. Tshuva is a privilege. You could fix a broken life in one day, in 1 minute. It's a gift and a privilege. HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't impose Tshuva on us. You're going to be a terrible fool if you don't take advantage of this gift. But it's a privilege and not a chiyuv. Why does the Minchas Chinuch think so? So let's have a look at the very first halacha in the Rambam in Hilchos Tshuva. Sefer Hamada, Hilchos Tshuva, Perek Aleph, Halacha Aleph. And let's just try to be menateich, to analyze the Lashon of the Rambam. In the very first halacha in Hilchos Tshuva, Kol ha-mitzvahs shebetoirah, bein aseh, bein lo ta'aseh, im over Adam al achas mehem, bein bisod, bein mishgogo, bein bisod and bein mishgogo, kishi yaseh tshuva v'yoshev mecheto echai, v'le'ezvados lefneu ke'el baruch hu. And the Rambam goes on to say, Vidu zeh mitzvahs aseh. So obviously, tshuva is not a mitzvah. Kishi yaseh tshuva v'yoshev mecheto echai, v'le'ezvados, vidu zeh mitzvahs aseh. So the Rambam seems to say, you don't have a mitzvah to do tshuva. If you do tshuva, then you have a mitzvah to say vidui. It seems to be the same in Sefer HaMitzvahs. Sefer HaMitzvahs la Rambam mitzvahs asay ayin gimel. Same diuk. The Rambam brings the mitzvah of vidui, not the mitzvah of tshuva. And I am learning the very beginning of mitzvah ayin gimel. Shetzivonu lehizvados. Alachaton v'avoynes shechaton al-frei ha'kelis ala v'loim HaEysonim tshuva. Shetzivonu lehizvados v'loim HaEysonim tshuva. So tshuva is not a mitzvah. The mitzvah is vidui. The Minchas Chinuch draws a comparison. It might seem a strange comparison, but the Minchas Chinuch says the yachas between shiva and vidui is like gerushin and ksivas aget. So the Rambam in Mitzvah Sasei Reish Chov Beis writes, one of the Tayag Mitzvah Shabbatayah is gerushin. Because of the Sefer Krisis v'Shilchom Beisai. So it goes without saying, we don't have a mitzvah to divorce our wives. We know about various different Gedolei Yisrael that were never makayim this mitzvah. They married a Rebbetzin and they lived happily ever after till the end of their lives. So obviously it's not a mitzvah to give a get. However, the mitzvah is when in the course of human events, a person needs to or wants to divorce his wife, this is the way to do it. You need to do it al yedei get sefer krisis shenichtav lishma. That is the mitzvah. If a person chooses to divorce his wife, he needs to give a proper get. If a person chooses to do tshuva, then he needs to say vidu. Maybe let's bring another comparison which is more appealing. Berchas HaMazon. You don't need to bench, but if you choose to eat pas, a kazayas pas, then you need to bench. If you choose to do tshuva, you need to say vidu. That is the approach of the Minchas Chinuch. I can understand the Minchas Chinuch for 3 different reasons. Migamora u'misavora. So the Minchas Chinuch wants to compare and draw a comparison between tshuva and gerushin. But when we are medayik the illusion of the Rambam in Mitzvah Sasei Rosh Chov Beis and Mitzvah Sasei Ayin Gimel, there's a striking discrepancy. They're not the same at all. Because the Rosh Chov Beis, when the Rambam discusses the mitzvah of gerushin, the Rambam writes, Shetzivonu lichtav get krisis, sefer krisis, al kol ponem kishenirtze legaresh. Al kol ponem kishenirtze legaresh. If you choose to part with your wife, you gotta give a get. The Rambam doesn't write in Mitzvah say ayin gimel shenitzavonu leizvados Kishenirtze loshuv b'tshuva. No. Tshuva is not an option. Tshuva is not something you choose to do or choose not to do. You have a chiyuv of tshuva. So why does the Rambam write vidui is the mitzvah and not tshuva? It's a pele b'yainai that the Minchas Chinuch didn't notice Loshen HaRambam and Prote HaMitzvahs, because that's Loshen HaRambam. The Rambam defines Tariag Mitzvahs 3 different times in his monumental works. Sefer HaMitzvahs, which is the lengthy version, in which he goes through all the Tariag Mitzvahs. Sefer HaMitzvahs HaKotzar, also known as Minyan HaMitzvahs, which is an integral part of Mishnah Torah. And the third time, Prote HaMitzvahs. In the Yud Dalet Sforim in Mishnah Torah, which are divided into sections, before each and every section of halachas, the Rambam writes how many mitzvahs say and mitzvahs lo ta'aseh. I will explain and elaborate in these halachas. So at the beginning of Hilchas Tshuva, the Rambam writes, mitzvahs asay achas. All the 10 prokim of Hilchas Tshuva come to define one mitzvah asay. V'hi, sheyoshuv ha'choyte mechetoi lefnei Hashem v'yezvadei. Isn't that clear? What is the mitzvah? Sheyoshuv ha'choyte mechetoi lefnei Hashem v'yezvadei. Isn't that clear? That he has a chiyuv to do tshuva. The mitzvah is sheyoshuv ha'choyte mechetoi lefnei Hashem v'yezvadei. So the way I understand the Rambam, leis man de palig, everybody agrees a person is chayev lasis tshuva. Of course it's a privilege, of course it's a gift, but it's not only a gift and a privilege, it's an obligation, it's a chiyuv, it's a mitzvah. The machlokes Rambam and Ramban is only what is the source of this mitzvah. Maybe what is the essence of the mitzvah. Everybody agrees it's a mitzvah. According to the Ramban, it's a mitzvah to say of tshuva v'shafto ad Hashem elokecha. The Rambam Mishitosai cannot accept that, because in Perek Zayin, the Rambam writes, Kvar evtichu Torah shesoif Yisrael lasis tshuva v'miyad hem nigolim. Shenema v'shafto ad Hashem elokecha v'shav Hashem elokecha v'svuzcha. So the Rambam clearly interprets this pasuk as a nevuah, as a haftocha, not as a mitzvah to say. So the Rambam cannot base the mitzvah of tshuva on the pasuk v'shafto ad Hashem elokecha. According to the Rambam, v'hizvadu es chatosom lefnei Hashem. The mitzvah is vidui. But Chazal teaches us in Masechet Yuma, if a person says vidui, and he doesn't mean it, and he doesn't chayza b'tshuva, einoi elo toivel v'sheretz biyodoi, v'hoisef chet al pesha. The mitzvah is vidui, but the mitzvah is lehezvadois im hatshuva. It's one. Tshuva and vidui are two sides of the very same coin. The mitzvah is vidui, but vidui includes tshuva. It's based on tshuva, because vidui without tshuva is meaningless. Vidui without tshuva is a chet, toivel v'sheretz biyodoi. So the Rambam totally agrees with the Ramban that a person has a chiyuv to do tshuva, but the source of this mitzvah is vidui. I quoted the Lashon of the Rambam in Sefer HaMitzvahs, shetzivonu lehezvadois, v'lo yimer dvorim elo im hatshuva. Pshat is not like the Minchas Chinuch. Lo yimer dvorim elo if you decide to do tshuva. I think we need to read this halach in Rambam b'neshima achas. Shetzivonu lehezvadois alachatom sheratonu v'lo yimer dvorim elo im hatshuva. That's the mitzvah. It's Tzarich lezvadois mitoich tshuva. And that's a chiyuv. Like the Rambam writes in Protei HaMitzvos. Sheyoshev achoyte mechete lefnei Hashem v'yesvad. So the reason I disagree with the Minchas Chinuch is not only the lashonis of the Rambam, Misvora as well. I think it's totally unreasonable, maybe even unacceptable to say, if you didn't do tshuva at all, you don't have an avera. But if you did tshuva and you didn't express your tshuva about that, you do have an avera. That doesn't make sense. If you don't want to part with your wife, you don't have an avera. But if you do part with your wife and you don't give a get, that's an avera. That makes total sense. If you don't want to eat bread, you don't have an avera if you didn't bench. But if you do eat bread and you don't bench, that's an avera. That makes total sense. But it doesn't make sense at all to say you don't have to do tshuva. But if you do tshuva and you didn't say vidui, that's an avera. That doesn't make sense because in their very essence, b'mahus advorim, vidui and tshuva are two sides of the same coin. It starts with vidui. It starts with tshuva. It ends with vidui. What is vidui? Vidui is verbalizing your charota, your kabbalah al-wasid. So how could one say, if I didn't do tshuva at all, I'm okay, I don't have an avera. But if I did tshuva and I didn't say vidui, I do have an avera. It doesn't make sense at all. If you did nothing, you're okay. If you did 50% or 80% or 90%, then you have an avera because you didn't say vidui. It's not doing a klal to gerishim to berchas and mozen, as I explained. So for all these three reasons, borur be'enai, leisman de paleg, everybody agrees that tshuva is a chiyuv. The question is only the source of the chiyuv. Is there enough common halacha between Rambam and Ramban? I think so. I'm sure there is. Because the Rambam is a mechanish gewaldige chiddush. In Perek Aleph halacha out of the very first halacha. I just quoted part of that halacha. It's a lengthy halacha. So the Rambam writes that vidui is ma'akev. If you did tshuva, you didn't say vidui, you weren't mekayem the mitzvah. And the tshuva is invalid. You have no benefit out of this tshuva. It's not mechaper. I think the Ramban would disagree with that chiddush. And that chiddush is only Rambam l'shitoso. Because of the source of the mitzvah is ve'ezvadu. And the essence of the mitzvah is vidui. So rechelezvadu is metoich tshuva. So if you didn't say vidui, you weren't mekayem the mitzvah. But according to the Ramban, that the mitzvah is v'shavtu ad Hashem elokecho, then mistava that vidui milta achrita. Vidui is ma'akev. So I think this chiddush of the Rambam, that vidui is ma'akev, is only Rambam Rishitos. I want to share with you two other beautiful thoughts regarding the mitzvah of tshuva. So I made it clear. Shnei ge'oinei Yisrael, the two giants, the two Moshe Rabbeinus of Tkufas HaRishonim, the Rambam and the Ramban both agree tshuva is a chiyuv. It's only machlokes what's the source of the chiyuv. Two of the great achronim. One was the Hasidic Rebbe, and the other was one of the greatest gedolim in Lita, the Yismach Moshe and Rav Meir Simcha, the Meshech Chochmah. Very different, but both were giants. The Yismach Moshe was one of the greatest gedolim of his era. He was a close chaver of the Chassam Sofer. He was a great Rebbe, Rav Moshe Teitelbaum. He was a Rav in Uhel. Many years ago, I visited his kever, and he was the head of the dynasty of Sigit Satmar. Moiri Varabi, the Kloisim Magereb, was also an enikel of the Yismach Moshe. The first Sigit Rav, the Eight of Lev, was an enikel. The Yismach Moshe has a Sefer Shalas Tshuvas Heishav Moshe, which is unbelievable. So much godless. But in Yismach Moshe Parshas Nitzavim, and in Meshech Chochmah Parshas V'Yelech, they say the same idea. And it's an amazing thought, very profound. Mitzvah tshuva is not one mitzvah, it's taryag mitzvahs. There are taryag mitzvahs of tshuva. Because each and every mitzvah, whether it's a mitzvah sasera, mitzvah sloisasa, the same reason it's an aveda to be mevatel a mitzvah or oiver on a mitzvah, the same reason demands and requires, if you were over the mitzvah and you could fix it lemafreya, you need to do so. Every aveda is neged ritzayin Hashem. And that is the essence of an aveda. So why would there be a difference between doing an aveda and letting the aveda be? If you could annul it, you could erase it, you could be mevatel daveda lemafreya, because if a person does tshuva shalema, zdoinas nasan loy kischuyois, zdoinas nasan loy kishgogois, tshuva b'yahava nasan loy kischuyois. And the Rambam says, it is as if he never did an aveda. So the very same taryag mitzvahs are taryag mitzvahs of tshuva. If the Kodesh Baruch Hu gave us this amazing gift, this unbelievable privilege, which the Yerushalmi in Perik Beis the Malka say, Sharu l'chochma, Sharu l'nevuah, Sharu l'toira. None of them understood tshuva. Only a Kodesh Baruch Hu says, Choyte ma'yeh olav, yaseh tshuva v'yitkaper lo. So that all the taryag mitzvahs, each and every one of them includes a mitzvah of tshuva. Just like you're not allowed to do the aveda. If you did the aveda, chas v'sholem, and you could fix it, lemafreya, you need to do so. That's one thought. And the other is lanias daiti. The chiyuv of tshuva has another source. Boitid bekun. Because the Rambam beautifully describes in Perek Zayin of Hilchos Tshuva. Perek Zayin of Hilchos Tshuva is a beautiful perek. The first few prokem deal primarily with technicalities of tshuva. Perek Zayin talks about the beauty of tshuva. Gedoyle tshuva shemekareves es ha'odam el hashchina. Emesh hoyu ze rachoik mi'HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Meshukatz meruchak v'toyeva. The Rambam couldn't choose more harsh, more horrible words. Meshukatz meruchak v'toyeva. Hayoim koroiv v'nechmad ohuv v'yedid. Koloimar im toshe b'tshuva b'tidbak. Im toshe b'tshuva b'tidbak. You cannot be dovak on HaKadosh Baruch Hu if you have avedas. But tshuva brings you to dveikus. So the mitzvah of dveikus is also the mitzvah of tshuva. Boitid bekun. Im toshe b'tshuva b'tidbak. A Baal Aveda cannot come close to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So these are two additional sources for the mitzvah of tshuva, besides the Rambam and Ramban. So the Rambam says vidui is ma'akev, and many achronim have a gewaldige kasha on the Rambam. How would the Rambam explain the Gemara in Kedusha Mem Teso mit Beis HaMakadosh Yeshua Menashe Nitzadik v'Nimtza Rosh HaGomur Choshesh Shel Kedusha of Shemo Hirer Tshuva B'Liboy. So obviously, you can be transformed from a Rosh HaGomor to a Tzadik with Hirer Tshuva B'Liboy. But according to the Rambam, if he didn't say vidui, his tshuva is void. It's invalid. Doesn't work. So how does the Gemara say Shema Hira Tshuva B'Liboy? It's not only a question about the Lashon, the din, because only HaKadosh Baruch Hu is a Bochim Kaloyis V'Leiv. A human being could never know what's in the heart of another. Shema Hira Tshuva B'Liboy. But Adam could testify he didn't say vidui. We saw him eating nevela setofis, and he gave a piece of nevela to this woman, and he said, "Harayat mikudeshasli, lama choshesh lekedushav." obviously the Eidim could be made, they could testify, he didn't say vidui, he didn't say anything. And according to the Rambam, if you don't say vidui, then you don't have tshuva. So how would the Rambam explain the Gemara? Lani is daiti. And this is one of the most fundamental Yesodis I wrote about tshuva. So the pasuk refers to two concepts, kapora and tahara. They're not the same. Two different Yesodis, two different ideas. Kapora and tahara are closely related, maybe two sides of the same coin, but they're not the same. Shnei ponim b'tshuva keneged shnei ponim ba'avera. Hachet mechayev, v'achet mizaheim, mitamei. Nevi'ei Yisrael didn't speak that much about punishment, about choivo shebe'avera. They spoke more about zoham asachet. Rachatzo, izako, hasiru abgodem atzoyim me'alechem. The Nevi'im spoke about kirvus Elokim. Like the Rambam in Perek Zayin speaks about the beauty of tshuva. So every Avera has a price tag. Some Avera, some are foolish b'Torah. Mises based in Misa b'dei Shemayim, Kores, Malchus. But besides Anshe based in B'Olam Hazeh, every Avera has a price tag B'Olam Haba. We don't know the price, but every Avera has a price. Ein Yisurim b'loi chet, ve'ein Misa b'loi avoin. So every chet is mechayev, but it's not only mechayev. Every Avera is metama, nefesh ha'odam, and has such a negative impact on our neshamas, on our very being. Avera goreres Avera. Keneged shnei ponim ba'avera, shnei ponim b'tshuva. Tshuva is mechaper al choivo sheba'avera, and tshuva is metayr metumas achet. And that is why the pasuk referring to Yom Kippur says, Ki b'yom hazeh yechaper aleichem letayr eschem mikol chatoseichem. And I say, vidu is ma'akev kapora. Nothing is ma'akev tahara. Tahara depends only on you. Shemo hirer tshuva believe. Moshe Amado v'Daima. Two people took loans from the same benefactor. He's a nogid in the community who has a big, huge, warm, open heart. And he helps people. So two people took a 30-day loan on the very same day from the very same person. A day before payday, Mr. A calls and he says, could I come over? So the benefactor thinks he's coming with a check. Knocks on the door, comes in, and he says, I know tomorrow is the day I need to pay my loan. I apologize, I don't have any money. My plans did not materialize. And I plead and I beg. I came a day before payday because I don't want you to think for a moment that I'm running away. I'll do my best. And he begs for rachamim. Could he give me some more time? So the person could afford it. He doesn't need the money desperately. V'leiv bosel b'kir boy v'lo leiv even. He will be forthcoming. Mr. B doesn't call. The day passes. The Malva calls him. He hears his voice, puts down the telephone. He sees him in shul. He runs out of the emergency door. He evades him. Doesn't want to see him. He's nowhere to be found. They both are balei choiv. They both will need to pay. But one is merely a bal choiv. The other is a ben belial. So if you did tshuva, here tshuva beliboy, you are no longer a Rasha. You're a tzaddik. You're a tzaddik gomor. Doesn't mean that you don't have debt to pay. You will need to pay. Or achieve mechila. So, Shemo Hira Tshuva Belibo is enough to achieve the highest level of Tahara. Omar Rebbe Kiva, very last Mishnah, Masechet Yuma. Lifna miyata mitara mimiyin ta'areschem, ovinim ovichem shebeshamayim, mikvi yisol Hashem, v'zorakti aleichem mayim ta'orim. That Mishnah deals exclusively with Tahara. You need to go into the mikveh. You need meichatos. But it depends on you and you alone. Kapora is different. Vidu is ma'akav kapora. Nothing is ma'akav tahara. There are dalet chaluke kapora. The end of Masechet Yom. Some Avedas need Yom Kippur, Sora Mishtalech, Yisurim, Misa. So how do Chazal say Shem Hir Tshuva B'Livay and he's a tzaddik? He's a tzaddik. But he still has a loan to pay. It's two things. Kapor and Tahara are not the same. Ki v'yoyim hazeh yechaper aleichem l'tayreso mekol chatasechem lefnei Hashem titaharu. Titaharu. Because Tahara is legamre b'yedchem. Tahara is always within your power. Neither Yisurim nor Sor Mishtaleach nor Misa. Nothing is ma'akav Tahara. You're dalat chaluka kapora. We do ma'akav kapora. It's not ma'akav tahara, and that is why. Hamakadosh Yesui Shalom Asher Tzadi Benim Sorosh Gomor Choishet Shem Kedusha Shema Hir Tshuva B'Liboy. Hir Tshuva B'Liboy is enough. Yevamis Chov Beis, the Gemara says, if a person has a child and mom's lo aleinu b'nohu l'chol davar. And the Gemara and Bavli and Yerushalmi have two different interpretations. What does the Mishnah mean, l'chol davar? The Bavli says, chayiv b'kibudav. So the Gemara asks, bo'alo erva. He was over on chayiv krisis, mises based in. So he's einoi oise masa amcha. He's a Rasha. There is no chayiv kibudav for a Rasha. The Gemara says, also tshuva. He did tshuva. But then the Gemara asks, mo'vis lo yuchol et koin. Chesoran lo yuchol lehimona. He says, bo'alo erva ba'oilid mamzer. There is no tshuva. The Gemara answers, Hashta mihu oise mase amchohu. There is no kapora. But he's oise mase amchu. He's a tzaddik. He did tshuva. So nothing is ma'akav tahara. Many things are ma'akav kapor. Like vidu. Dalet chaluki kapor. So I explained, sometimes a person could achieve Tahara even before he achieves Kapora. It goes the other way around as well, and that's even a bigger chiddush. In Yom Pei Zayin, there's a machlokes Rebbe v'Chachamim. According to Rebbe, Itzu Moishel Yom Mechaper, Bein Lo Oso Tshuva, Bein Lo Yoso Tshuva. According to Rebbe, Yom Kippur is Mechaper even if a person doesn't do Tshuva. Chachamim say no. Ein itzumoy shel yoyim mechaper, ela im osu tshuva. Oh, how much we wish that halacha would be in accordance to Rebbe. How much we wish. We would be everything that Rambam should paskin like Rebbe. Itzumoy shel yoyim mechaper, afal pi shelo yosu tshuva. But there's nothing we can do about it. Yochid v'rabim, halacha kerabim, halacha kechachamim. Ein Yom Kippur mechaper, only b'sha'osu tshuva. Toises Yeshonim Yom Pei asks an amazing question, and I wonder why not everyone asks the same. According to Rabbeinu HaKadosh, that Yom Kippur is mechaper afal pi shelo yosu tshuva al mo'av de'oretz lo machorav beis hamikdash. It is a simple assumption in the eyes of Toises that the Beis Hamikdash wasn't destroyed for 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 months of Avedas must have been an accumulation of many years. So according to Rabbeinu HaKadosh, Yom Kippur is mechaper, after Pishalei Teshuvah. From Yud Tishrei till Yud Tevis was the beginning of Chorban Beis Hamikdash. Doesn't make sense. Few months, and that was enough to bring Chorban Beis Hamikdash. It's not clear what the kavanah of Tosfos is, because it's Tosfos Yishonim, not Tosfos, so the lashon isn't that clear. Lani is daiti. The Beis Hamikdash was destroyed not because of hachoivo shebechet, but because of tumas hachet. Itzuma shel yom mechaper. Itzuma shel yom is not mitaher. The lashonis of Chazal are meduktak, wonderful, unbelievable. Rabbi maintains that Tzuma shel yom mechaper, but as Amel said, the pshita Tzuma shel yom is not mitaher. Only tshuva shleim is mitayer, and only the person could be mitayer himself. Mitayer atzmai melamata, mitayer anoisai melamalo. If a person does tshuva to Torah, Kodesh Baruch Hu bestows upon him tshuva iloi. But it's Tzuma shel yom, according to Rebbe, is mechaper afa pi shelo yesod tshuva, but it's not mitayer. And what ultimately brought about Chorban Habayis is tumas hachet. When HaKadosh Baruch Hu Kiviyachal said, I could bear this no longer. Ein ani v'heim yecholim lodo b'bayis echad. That is what brought about Chorban Habayis. Not a choivo shebechet, but rather tumas hachet. And there is kapora without tahara, according to Rebbe, itzumoi shel yom. So this is the essence of tshuva, kapora and tahara. And when we come back to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we come back hoping for both kapora and tahara. Yom Kippur is the time of chasina. Rosh Hashanah Yekosevim. Yom Kippur Yechuseinu. Sichas Minchas Osher on Yom Kippur. I brought an unbelievable Yerushalmi. Kishakadosh Baruch Hu Yoshev Bedin, he sits together with Beis Din Shalmala, Pamalia Shalmala. But when he signs the verdict, he is alone. It is only HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And when it's only between us and HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that is our chance. That is our chance. So when HaKadosh Baruch Hu sits with the Beis Din Shalmala, with the Pamani Shabala, there are laws, there are rules. But when it's between us and HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we turn to HaKadosh Baruch Hu like children turn to a father, to plead, to beg. And the Sgula is Shivron Leiv. The Navi says, Moida va'oizev Yerucham. So the Reishis Chachma says, Moida b'knas potu. Moida b'knas potu. When we are in denial, that is Moida Midas Adin. But when we stand before HaKadosh Baruch Hu, believe in Yishba, I think I quoted the Zohar a few weeks ago. The Zohar says there are 3 Pirkei Tehulim which are personal property. Tefillah LeDavid, Tefillah LeMoshe, and Perekuv Beis, Tefillah LeOni Kiyatov. Tefillah LeOni taps everything else. So the way I understand this Zohar, Tefillah LeMoshe is a tefillah which is based on Koyach HaTorah. Zichru Toilas Moshe Avni. Tefillah LeDavid is a tefillah which is based on Koyach HaTefillah. Tefillah LeOni is a tefillah which is based on and nothing. And shivering lev. Tefillah oni ki yatoi velefnei Hashem yishpach zichroi. Tefillah oni kroi veleiskabel. So we stand before HaKadosh Baruch Hu b'shas hachasima, and it's only HaKadosh Baruch Hu and us. And we plead, and we beg. Ovina malkeinu ein bono masim. Se'emun tzedakah v'chesed v'oishiyim. In some old Sidurim, the very last Bakoshan of Avinu Malkeinu is written, Oimrim Belachash. I don't think this has a Mekor in the Poiskim. But in many old Sidurim, Oimrim Belachash. I once saw a beautiful moshel. So a person walks into a supermarket or into a big wholesale department, and he takes out a list of orders, and he says, I want 1,000 packages of this and 10,000 of that, and he makes a big, huge order. And then he walks over to the one responsible, the one on the floor. Could I speak to the manager? And he asks him, why do you need to speak to the manager? You could speak to me. Or, what is it? What's your problem? So he says, no, I have something very personal. I need to see the manager. Okay, he's taken into the manager. And then he says, I made a big order, but I don't have any cash. Could you do me a favor? I promise, I expect to get some money in a month or two. And he starts pleading and begging. Could you be forthcoming? I'm in difficult times. Please do me a favor. That is always personal. Doesn't stand on the floor in public and say, do me a favor, I don't have any money. So after we read this unbelievable list of Bakoshas, Avinu Malkeinu, we need this and we need that. Because veini l'schuyos, because veini l'panos v'alkona, because veini l'chayim toyim, shlach refuah shalem alachoy le'amecho, mana megefo manach l'secho. At the end of this huge order list, we turn to HaKadosh Baruch Hu and we say, Avinu Malkeinu, we actually have nothing to pay for. We don't have any money. Chonenu v'onenu ki ein bono ma'asim. Se'emun tzedakah v'chesed v'oishiyim. And when we stand before HaKadosh Baruch Hu like Ezra HaSofer, Oishti v'nechlamti l'orem ponei elecha. HaKadosh Baruch Hu s'mal erachamim oleinu. And there is no limit to HaKadosh Baruch Hu's rachamim. Rachamei Shamayim have no gevul. So that is our hope. And Yom Kippurim b'shas hachasima she'HaKadosh Baruch Hu yerachem oleinu. But the biggest gula is Kol ha'maracham al habriyas maracham emorav min hashamayim. Shabbos Kuf Nun Aleph, Yerushalmi Bava Kama Lamed Vav, Simen Ze Yehi B'yodecha. Em atu maracham al habriyas maracham emolechem min hashamayim. Ein atu maracham, ein maracham emolechem. HaYoshev b'maroim HaKadosh Baruch Hu looks down at us, and the way we act and react and interact with our friends and our people, that is the way HaKadosh Baruch Hu treats us. So do chesed, do mitzvahs. Help others that are less fortunate. Hamarachim al habriyas, marachim emorav min hashamayim. You should all have a good gebenched year, a gesund year. Kadosh Baruch Hu should send us a year of simcha and nachas and shefa. Tich leshona v'kirloiseo, toch leshona v'birchoiseo. And be'ikah, this would be a shnas geula v'yeshua. We should be zoicha to see Moshiach tzedkeinu b'geulas Yisrael v'simchas olam al rosham b'mahero v'yameinu.